On Mornings on One. Yesterday, Mayor Bill de Blasio was here. Today, Nicole Malliotakis joins me. Welcome to Mornings on One.
Good morning.
Any candidate, even a candidate who's trailing in the polls, has got to be happy to see a headline like this on their opponent. Not happy as a New Yorker, but this is the kind of thing that you can turn into a point of contention on this campaign. Front page of the Daily News, I bought the mayor for $193,000. Front page of the New York Post, how I bought de Blasio. Tell me your reaction when you heard this testimony from Jonah Recknitz yesterday.
Well, it's really shocking, and it sort of adds to the theme that what I've been talking about for the last 6 months. I mean, my campaign has really been centered about quality of life, the issues that are plaguing the city, and the fact that we're not getting the services we deserve as taxpayers. But it's also been centered around the pay-to-play at City Hall, and that there's literally a for sale sign at the gates. And we need to change this culture. And as someone who has been a reformer in Albany, I believe strongly that we need to ban lobbyists, individuals from bundling this significant amount of money. And what today's headlines really show is that there needs to be an investigation that is reopened here. I saw the mayor's spokesperson's comment saying that, well, the mayor was cleared in the investigation. We have to remember that there was also an article recently showing that $70,000 from the mayor's lawyers was donated to the prosecutor who was doing the investigating, Cy Vance. And so we need to really take a step back here and ask ourselves, is this what we want from our city government?
But this was independently investigated, and it came up that the mayor was cleared, no charges. Is this fair to be reopening this at this point?
Well, you know, the spirit and the intent of the law was defied, right? That's what the DA said at the time. Is that what we want in a mayor? Someone who's looking for that little loophole to get around the law? Or do we want someone who has a moral compass, who's going to do what's right for the people of this city and put them first? And I also, again, want to reiterate, $70,000 of the mayor's from the mayor's attorneys was given to District Attorney Cy Vance just a few months before this investigation was handed over. And so I think that in itself is something that the state needs to be looking at if there are more restrictions that need to be made on this type of campaign contribution.
Okay, so I don't want to spend this whole interview on one aspect of Mayor de Blasio. Let's talk about your campaign and what you would do if you're elected mayor. What is your key message to voters?
My key message is that we're spending a lot more money than we were 3.5 years ago, and yet things have deteriorated in our city. Our quality of life has been ruined. And when you look at all the problems that we're facing, we could be doing so much better. We're spending nearly double what we were on the homeless crisis, and yet it has gotten worse. I don't believe there's been an urgency from this administration in transitioning people out of the shelter system into permanent housing, so people who are on the street can then go to the shelters. I think what we need to do is look at ways to issue requests for expressions of interest from nonprofit organizations who can build senior housing, veterans housing. We need an agreement with the governor for supportive housing to help those individuals who have mental illness and substance abuse issues. There are a lot of underlying issues. In some cases, people just can't afford the rent because they don't have a good paying job. We have to help those people with vocational training opportunities to give them a skill that they can have a career, start a business, join a union, whether that's painting, whether that's mechanics. And I believe that we could be doing so much more in addressing the mentally ill on our streets. We're not utilizing Kendra's law to give people outpatient treatment. That is something I've been talking about. Instead, individuals are going in and out of the justice system, and they're going back on the street instead of getting the treatment they deserve, and they're a threat to themselves and others.
A lot of New Yorkers are assuming that Mayor de Blasio has already won this race. They're looking at the polls. They are suggesting that you got into this race as somebody who wants to build a name for a run for another office at some point. Is there enough opportunity in the next week and a half for you to get into the minds of some of those voters and present yourself as a contender?
Our internal polls are very different than what the college polls have been showing. As I go around this city, people want to change. They're not happy with the direction of the city. They're fed up with paying more and getting less. But there's kind of a dichotomy in
the polls there that people will, a lot of people say, I don't like Mayor de Blasio, but I'm still going to vote for him.
Well, I truly believe if people come out to vote in this city, we will win. we will win this election if people turn out on election day, because there is so much disenchantment across the city. Look at the press conference I had yesterday on property taxes. The fact that the mayor is paying the least, his council district is paying the least effective tax rate out of all 51 council districts. He has a home valued at $1.9 million and is paying roughly $3,500. I and others in middle-class neighborhoods have homes valued $550,000, and I'm paying $5,500, $2,000 more than his, and my home is valued nearly a quarter. There are a lot of things that need to be changed in this city, and people are tired of paying more and getting no results with this administration. I urge people to go to my website, NicoleForMayor2017.com, and read about what I've been talking about for the last 6 months.
I think we have that the message you put out on Twitter yesterday about the mayor's taxes. Again, that's a message that you want to say Bill de Blasio has a conflict of interest on something like this, that there's something wrong with the way those taxes are assessed.
Yes, he and other millionaires are benefiting from the system as it is. And not only that, he has control to cap property taxes. The property tax levy has increased 28%. That's how much more money he has sought from the property taxpayers of our city. And if you're a renter, this is passed on to you in your rent, along with the double-digit increase in water bills we've had under him.
One of your campaign ads shows you in a kitchen with your parents, and you comment how you have immigrant parents who were able to achieve the American dream. Your policies on immigration are not in line with what a lot of New Yorkers believe on immigration.
Well, I actually disagree with that. I have said I will lobby Washington to fix the broken system. I believe that we have to, but what I disagree with, and I would uphold, by the way, I would uphold all the executive orders that have been put in place by every mayor from Ed Koch. But I disagree with this mayor protecting individuals convicted of crimes such as grand larceny, sex abuse, patronizing a child for prostitution, drunk driving. So I will uphold those executive orders that don't share status if someone comes forward to report a crime, for example. But I believe the majority of New Yorkers don't want someone who's committing sex abuse or grand larceny, committing a crime against other immigrants and citizens, to be able to stay here and continue to do that.
I want to give you a chance to talk about your relationship with the Trump administration and your support of Donald Trump. Where does that stand now 9 months into this administration?
I don't have a relationship with the president, but what I'll say is the bottom line is I'm always going to do what's right for New York City. And when I disagree with the mayor, which I disagree with the tax plan that was proposed, I disagree with banning transgenders from serving in the military. I've disagreed with stripping DACA recipients of their status. I think there are things that we're going to have to work with Washington, obviously, because we rely on federal funding to come for infrastructure, to fix our subway systems. But we need a mayor who can work with not only the Republicans in Washington, but the Democratic governor. And right now, we don't have someone who could work with either. We have someone who can't work with either, and the people of New York City are suffering as a result. So I have no problem working or challenging my own party when I need to. My interest is for the people of the city of New York, and I'm not looking to fight any ideological wars here. I'm just looking to do the day-to-day job of managing the city and making sure that taxpayers are getting the services that they deserve.
Nicole Malliotakis, you broke your foot by trying to avoid stepping on your dog.
Yeah.
I appreciate you trying to keep up your schedule of campaign events and coming in here this morning. It's been that's not the turn of events that any candidate needs.
You know what? I had
to
choose
election.
between my foot and the dog. I chose my dog. So I hope at least the animal rights people could appreciate that.
Good. Thank you for coming in.